श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारी बरनउँ रघुबर बिमल जसु जो दायक फल चारि बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाए सजीवन लखन जियाए
plus everything else you just love. Learn more at NavyReserve.com.
Save on appliances at the Home Depot with up to $1,000 off, plus up to an extra $500 off select appliances like Whirlpool that can keep up with your busy routine. The Home Depot has Whirlpool laundry appliances with Fan Fresh. This feature fans and tumbles your laundry after it's done to help keep your clothes fresh until you're ready to grab them. Shop now and get up to $1,000 off, plus free delivery on select appliances at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Free delivery on appliance purchases of $999 or more. Offer valid January 8th to 28th. U.S. only. See store online for details.
Percent that Canada had along with the U.S. Is this problematic to you, and do you think it impacts the Canada-U.S. trade negotiations as we relook at USMCA?
Well, I think it's problematic for Canada. There's a reason why we address geopolitical matters. Tariffs is just in the long line of tradition of presidents using American geopolitical power to achieve American geopolitical goals. And so I'll continue working with the president on whatever he needs to do on that front.
Ambassador Gertz, David Faber. On this question that Sarah asked, and that was raised, I guess, by the president, the idea of the Chinese building automobiles here in the U.S. I mean, is that something you could actually ever see? Obviously, you've been an outspoken critic of the Chinese system that uses state subsidies to, I think your words, chronically oversupply global markets. But could you ever imagine a day where we had the Chinese automakers here in the United States?
I think it would be hard for them to operate here because all of our cars now, right, they're like computers on wheels, and there are rules and regulations in place in America about the cybersecurity of our vehicles and the systems that go into those. So I think it might be hard for the Chinese to comply with those kinds of rules. The reason why so many countries want to come and build here is because President Trump has protected the American auto industry and all these workers here. I just heard today that 85% of auto workers voted for President Trump. This is the kind of situation where we want to make sure that the jobs are protected, that we are building here, and that's why the Chinese, the Japanese, the Koreans, everyone wants to come build their cars here in America. This is the consumer market. The tariffs protect the jobs here, and this is where they want to be. So I'm not surprised when I hear that kind of interest in investing in America.
Secretary Duffy, this is Phil again. One last question for you. You oversee the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, and you know the NHTSA rule that is going into effect in 2029, which requires automatic emergency braking in all vehicles built in the United States, starting at that time. There are many who believe that rule is an example of too much regulation, that it drives up the cost of vehicles. Two questions here. One, would you advocate for stripping out that rule and doing away with that requirement for automatic emergency braking? And two, are there other requirements that you and your staff are looking at where you say, this is like the start-stop button. It needs to go. It's just driving up the cost.
So, just to make the example for the auto braking, there was a time when airbags were new technology. And if you deploy new technology too quickly, which is what we did, you saw airbags cost more lives when they were first deployed than save lives. And so when you mandate new technology, you want to make sure you do it when the technology is ready. And that's what we're looking at right now at NHTSA with regard to the auto braking. Again, it can be very dangerous if it doesn't function correctly. But we have to look at our regulations, and as we have more autonomous vehicles that come online, if it's an autonomous vehicle, a lot of the requirements may not be needed. Do you need a side mirror with an autonomous vehicle? Do you need a rear view mirror with an autonomous vehicle? Do you need a backup camera? So we have to review as technology changes and the offerings of the auto industry change. We want to make sure we change with the industry to make sure we have rules in place that still drive safety. We have over 40,000 deaths a year on American roads. We want to make sure we bring those numbers down. And we don't want to change any rules that could impact those numbers going up. But again, we don't want to drive costs up and have no beneficial effect on safety. And so we always compare rules today versus new technology on the horizon and how we marry those two things up. But that's a continual process that NHTSA and DOT as a whole go through.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, along with EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin and U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer, joining us from the Ford plant just outside.
And so we always compare rules today versus new technology on the horizon, and how we marry those two things up. But that's a continual process that NHTSA and DOT as a whole go through.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, along with EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin and U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer, joining us from the Ford plant just outside of Cleveland, Ohio. Thank you, gentlemen. Sarah and David, I will send it back to you.
Okay, and we'll take it. Thank you, Phil, for bringing that to us. We're going to break down what this affordability push could mean for the automakers, and of course the shares of those companies as well. Former Ford CEO Mark Fields will be joining the next hour on Money Move.
At the trade desk, we understand the importance of moments. The night a bottle of Dove shampoo helps soothe their hair from the perm gone wrong. Or the realization that the secret ingredient to Grandma's award-winning meatloaf was just a couple tablespoons of classic Heinz ketchup. Creating these kinds of relationships takes more than just cheap reach. It takes a partner that can help you get more value from your advertising. The Trade Desk, because advertising matters. Learn more at thetradedesk.com.
At In Shape, we know the real family workouts. There's the car seat wrestle, the grocery bag deadlift, and the don't touch that sprint. When you need a workout that's just for you, our Kids Zone's got your back. Join today at InShape.com.
This Friday through Monday, discover can't-miss savings on top furniture styles at Ashley's 4-day sale. Save 25% off your first item plus 20% off the rest of your purchase. And you can refresh your space today and pay over time with 60-month special financing on in-store purchases of $29.99 or more made with your Ashley Advantage Synchrony credit card. Ashley's 4-day sale is happening this Friday to Monday. Don't miss out. Open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Monday, January 19th. Subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
Self-care season is here. Shop Ulta Beauty's Love Your Skin event now through January 17th with new deals dropping every day and week. Treat yourself to 50% off daily beauty steals from brands like Drunk Elephant, Estee Lauder, and Clinique. And 30% off weekly deals on faves from Naturium, Osea, and Ulla Henriksen. Plus, say hello to new arrivals from Supergoop and Peach and Lily. Shop in-store, online, or try store pickup today. You deserve it while supplies last. Conditions apply. Ulta Beauty. The possibilities are beautiful.
Spectrum TV Fixed TV and combine all your favorite sports streaming apps with live TV. 32, 32, hype! It's only more Hail Marys!
It's only more bottom of the ninth magic.
It's only more slow motion replays.
It's only getting all the sports with over $100 worth of streaming apps like ESPN, Fox One, Tennis Channel, Peacock, and more, included with live TV at no extra cost. It's only the way TV should be. It's only everything. Learn more at SpectrumTV.com.
Just search for ticker BTC wherever you invest. Grayscale. Invest.
Transform your home for 2026 with great offers on our favorite looks at Ashley's New Year's sale. Discover hot buys for every room in your home starting at just $299. And you can ring in the new year with new styles today and pay over time with 60-month special financing on in-store purchases made with your Ashley Advantage Synchrony credit card. Don't miss out. For a limited time only, shop the season's must-have looks at Ashley's New Year's sale. Subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
This weekend out to Davos, Switzerland for the World Economic Forum. It is that time of year. We've got a great lineup to bring you starting on this show on Tuesday, including Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff. We'll talk about that slide in the shares of software. Citigroup CEO Jane Fraser, Micron CEO Sanjay Mehrotra, Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla, Gap CEO Richard Dixon, actor Matt Damon, and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. And that is just on Tuesday, David, where things kick off. It is the center of the universe.
Yes,
the financial
those few
world
days.
For those few days.
Enjoy. Safe
I've
travels.
heard there's more snow than out west. So.
Good. Well, I know you'll be
But I
hitting
won't
the
be doing
slopes.
that.
Yeah.
I'll be working 24/7. We'll be right back on Money Movers when it kicks off.
That's the sound of James adding long-lasting gain scent boosters to his laundry this morning. Several hours later, James sniffs the irresistible scent of gain on his shirt. Gain. Several hours later, James has even caught the attention of his mother-in-law, and she never gives him attention.
Ooh, you smell amazing, James.
Oh, thanks, Mom. I love you too.
I never said that.
Add Gain scent boosters to your laundry. Add joy to your day.
Self-care season is here. Shop Ulta Beauty's Love Your Skin event now through January 17th with new deals dropping every day and week. Treat yourself to 50% off daily beauty steals from brands like Drunk Elephant, Estee Lauder, and Clinique. And 30% off weekly deals on faves from Naturium, Osea, and Ulla Henriksen. Plus, say hello to new arrivals from Supergoop and Peach and Lily. Shop in-store, online, or try store pickup today. You deserve it while supplies last. Conditions apply. Ulta Beauty. The possibilities are beautiful.
Hey there, it's Stormy Warren, and on my podcast called The Stormy Cast, I talk to artists like Luke Bryan, Tim McGraw, and Miranda Lambert about their journey from their hometowns to their first big break in Nashville. Thomas Rhett called his episode of The Stormy Cast the best therapy session he's ever had. And during my conversation with Little Big Town, he needed tissues, and a lot of them. Yeah, the conversations go that deep. You'll find The Stormy Cast wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, in the TuneIn app, or at tunein.com.
Music you love is all right here on TuneIn, bringing you good vibes and the hottest hits. But are you ready to amp things up even more? Just upgrade to TuneIn Premium for all of our exclusive music channels, completely commercial-free, so you get more of today's hits. More country roads. And everything else. Hear it all here, commercial-free on TuneIn. You can stream all the podcasts you already love right on TuneIn. Available on your smartphone, on your tablet, and even on your connected devices. There's so much to explore, like mind-blowing facts about your world.
So they were disallowed from speaking their language.
In-depth conversations with A-list celebrities.
No, I was ready to go. You know, after I wanted to fulfill my contract.
True crime podcasts you just can't stop listening to.
Others escape justice to live and die in infamy.
Plus the news and sports content you crave in podcast form.
Couldn't run in a straight line very quickly and didn't have much of an arm. His arm is stronger now.
So whether you want to save your go-to shows for later by subscribing and listening offline, or you want to discover a whole slate of new podcasts to be obsessed with, TuneIn is your destination. True crime, sports, lifestyle, culture, news, and so much more. TuneIn is Podcast Central. Hear them all here.
Make security possible.
Breaking earnings news. Netflix.
Good Friday morning. Welcome to Money Movers. I'm Sarah Eisen with Mike St. Poli. Today, live from Host 9 of the New York Stock Exchange, Carl Quintanilla has the morning off. Today, the White House looks to strike a deal to curb the impact of AI demand on power prices. We'll speak with the largest natural gas producer in the United States, CEO of EQT, predicting a 20 to 40% increase in demand for nat gas in the near future.
Then AI versus software. A top Wall Street analyst with a warning about further downward pressure on the software sector. He lays out some names that you may want to avoid.
And it's not just power. The White House's latest push on affordability centers around the auto sector as well, which we've been all over. Former Ford CEO Mark Fields on what the government can do to alleviate this problem.
Right now, markets have been under a little bit of pressure. The S&P actually back to about the flat line. Had a late day fade yesterday after it was up about 0.75%. Made 5 near approaches of the 7,000 mark in the last 6 days. Hasn't been able to quite get there, but nothing too dramatic today. You see small caps outperforming once again. 10-year Treasury yield popping above that 4.2% level that had been a bit of an upward bound over the last several days.
Yeah, it's been sort of range bound. So does this suggest a breakout a little bit higher?
It's tentative at this point. I mean, obviously we're just barely above 420, but yeah, I think if we close the week above there, it could suggest we might have some upward momentum.
All right, we'll talk about some of the reasons that might be happening, but let's start with some breaking news from the Fed. Right to Steve Leisman. Steve.
Sarah, thank you. Fed Governor Bowman, the Vice Chair for Banking Supervision, making some dovish remarks, saying the Fed should remain ready to adjust policy towards neutral unless the job market improves. And she has some downbeat views on the job market. She says the Fed should avoid signaling a pause here without identifying what conditions have indeed changed. And the Fed should continue to focus on employment risks, preemptively supporting the labor market, she says. So obviously not happy or not satisfied with the 75 basis points of cuts from last year. She's concerned businesses may need to begin laying off workers and notes that private payroll, in fact, may have started to fall in recent months using some other data in addition to the job data. So it could continue to deteriorate in the coming months. She says, quote, the labor market can appear to be stable right up until it doesn't. Her approach to monetary policy, says, remains intentionally proactive and forward-looking. Inflation on a sustained trajectory, she says, down towards the Fed's 2% target. She does some work where she takes out the tariff effects. She says underlying inflation mostly reflects tariffs, and the effects of them will fade over this year. She sees policy as modestly restrictive and expects the economy to expand at a solid pace. Deregulation, lower taxes, and a more favorable business climate, she says, will boost supply and offset tariff effects with an increase in productivity. She's concerned, however, that disappointing news on AI could lead to a sharp decline in equity prices. So, Sarah, I think predictably we haven't heard from Bowman since September on monetary policy, and she's leaning against some of the commentary we got yesterday, which was all in favor of a pause and maybe an extended pause from 3 Fed presidents.
So does this suggest we could get more dissent if they do pause in January from someone like her?
It's possible. I think you make a good point, Sarah, that Bowman may be setting herself up here to say, I am not in favor of the January pause, especially because we don't get any more jobs data other than the weekly jobless claims until then. So she wants to be very proactive and has a lot of concern with the job market here, making some really cautious and concerning remarks about the outlook for the job market.
Yeah, great. Because I assume Myron will dissent for a cut if they pause, and so it'll be interesting to see if others follow that lead. Steve, we do want to talk to you about this breaking news that we got last hour around the race for the next Fed chair, because President Trump actually said this about Kevin Hassett. Listen.
I see Kevin's in the audience, and I just want to thank you. You were fantastic on television today. I actually want to keep you where you are, if you want to know the truth. Kevin Hassett is so good. I'm saying, wait a minute. If I move them, these Fed guys, certainly the one we have now, they don't talk much. I would lose you. It's a serious concern to me.
And just like that, the betting odds really changed for the next Fed chair. Hassett's odds plunged on Kalshi, and it certainly helped the chances of Kevin Warsh.
There were police reported
the two
ahead.
Kevins is what sort of the president had been saying. But if you want to know the truth, he said, I'd like to keep you where you are so you can keep communicating. What do you make of it?
Well, I think there's a bunch of things that are in play here. There was a decline in Hassett's odds following the issue of the criminal subpoena of Fed Chair of the Federal Reserve, the Federal Fed Chair Jay Powell. That seemed to be something that kind of, with the backlash, Sarah, as you know, created this environment where it became less palatable to the markets for the president to pick somebody who was seen as much more closely aligned with him, and kind of raised the odds already of the possibility of the president picking somebody more independent, because that's really the key concern that's out there. I also think it's somewhat ironic in that it's been believed among the candidates that the best way to get to that job would be to be on TV, and here's Hassett doing too good of a job on television. The president does make an accurate remark here, which is that once he's Fed chair,
there were police reported ahead.
For him to go on TV promoting the Trump administration's policies in that position.
Right. So just getting that logic in real time. Steve, thank you very much. I do wonder, Mike, if that's why we saw the 10-year move up past 4.2. Warsh, obviously the president is only going to choose someone who wants lower rates, but Warsh has a history, I made this point last hour, of being hawkish and being someone who's been more worried than others about inflation. He was critical of QE. He's been critical of zero interest rates. So I wonder if maybe he's the choice, maybe that's a little slightly more hawkish of the doves.
It was the reflex move the market had, and I would point to the dollar popped, the 2-year yield popped, gold down. So that was at least what the initial reaction was, the pre-programmed reaction to the idea that Warsh might not be as dovish initially as Hassett. We'll see if that sticks in terms of that conclusion, because they've actually given up about half the move already, both the dollar, gold, and the 2-year yield. But I do think that is interesting because he does have the varied history.
Yes.
On the other hand, he's been pretty clearly dovish under the current circumstances, and it's what he's been saying. So,
which we know is a job requirement.
Of course, yeah.
As well.
So
the question is, how long do you have to stay dovish?
Exactly.
Right.
All right, well, let's continue this conversation with MetLife Investment Management Chief Market Strategist Drew Mattis. Drew, it's good to see you. I think you similarly, we just heard the comments Michelle Bowman was making, have some concern that weakness in the labor market could get out of hand and maybe requires a little more attention.
Yeah, I read her speech and I thought to myself, this is something I could have written, she's expressing and articulating the concerns that we have, which are, people are very optimistic on AI, maybe too optimistic, and that creates a risk on its own. The labor market doesn't look strong. Anyone who thinks the labor market's strong hasn't tried to find a job recently, I suspect. The inflation numbers just aren't that worrisome to me. I mean, we're not seeing a huge amount of volatility in inflation, and if inflation's elevated but it's not really volatile, then it doesn't really affect corporate planning, right? Companies are smart; they can figure it out. And if you put a 3 somewhere instead of a 2, it doesn't make a difference in terms of the ability to plan, right? It might change some of the economics and things, but it doesn't change planning capability, and that's what actually is damaging about inflation.
What would you say, though, if someone says that all makes sense, but the last tick in the unemployment rate was down, not up? We actually saw the last monthly job growth number was kind of in the zone where people feel like it can be to actually keep unemployment suppressed. And look, rates are at 3.5 to 3 3/4 on the short end in the Fed funds policy rate. And how much lower do we really need to get, and how much of a hurry do we need to be?
Well, so I would say that the 3-month average on job growth is negative. Right, so that's kind of the first thing. I don't think anyone sets the break even for job growth.
There are police reported ahead.
If you don't believe the job growth break even is negative, then the unemployment rate's probably going to move higher, right? And you're always going to have volatility in month-to-month data, so it's really kind of where's the trend, and the trend has been towards higher unemployment. And I think that's actually one of the more obvious calls out there. But yet, people are kind of looking at it and taking the other side of it, which, okay, good luck with that. Unemployment's going to move higher in the next couple of months, and there's just not enough activity in terms of hiring to kind of move the unemployment rate lower on a sustained basis.
But there are other potential reasons for it right now. Number one, look at where we are in the cycle. Full employment. Number two, AI, which you mentioned. Maybe that's keeping people from hiring new workers as companies are figuring out what they can do with AI. But also, and this is a really big one, the supply of workers is just down. I mean, we know what's been happening with immigration, for instance, with the visa policies. So if you take out that supply of workers, that would suggest lower hiring. All of those are valid cases, especially when you put it next to, Drew, the jobless claims numbers, which continue to show that there's no spike, quite the opposite, in firings.
Well, yeah, but there's a disconnect there, right? If it's workers kind of leaving the country, they wouldn't have been able to file for initial claims anyway, right? So those are kind of two different things going on there. The other kind of thing is that if you look at labor demand, that's actually where we're seeing weakness, right? And we can actually break it into demand and supply, and we can see weakness in the labor demand side of things. And the AI story is kind of interesting, and obviously the market's kind of glommed onto that. But if you look at kind of relative unemployment rates for example, men versus women, and then you look at kind of which ones are elevated for youth men versus women, it's pretty hard to kind of see an AI impact actually feeding through in the data. It's actually something else going on.
What are the investment implications for the year about all this, Drew? If you feel as if the markets and investors collectively are kind of underappreciating potential labor market weakness, when everybody is bulled up for the cyclical upswing in the economy, what does that mean for how markets are currently priced?
Well, I think what it suggests is you want to be more up in quality. You want to be looking at kind of investment grade. Our view is that the Fed will be cutting rates this year, and so you're going to get a curve steepener because we're not expecting any sort of movement along into the curve. And so if you get a curve steepener, it looks like financials, and then you want to stay away from kind of like sovereign debt, like long-dated stuff, because it's probably not going to move anywhere. Or if it does move somewhere, it's going to move higher, and that's kind of across the globe, quite frankly. So, that's kind of the outlook as it stands.
Gotcha, Drew. Great to catch up with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
When we come back, the White House pushing to curb power prices as consumers worry AI demand will drive up costs. Those details next.
Plus, we'll talk with the largest producer of natural gas in the United States, the CEO of EQT, on the demand for nat gas and the AI trade. Money Movers. We'll be back after this.
Early birds always rise to the occasion for summer vacation planning because early gets you closer to the action. So don't be late. Book your next vacation early on Vrbo and save over $530 on week-long stays. Average savings $550. Select homes only. Minimum 7-day stay required.
Self-care season is here. Shop Ulta Beauty's Love Your Skin event now through January 17th with new deals dropping every day and week. Treat yourself to 50% off daily beauty steals from brands like Drunk Elephant, Estee Lauder, and Clinique. And 30% off weekly deals on faves from Naturium, Osea, and Ulla Henriksen. Plus, say hello to new arrivals from Supergoop and Peach and Lily. Shop in-store, online, or try store pickup today. You deserve it. While supplies last. Conditions apply. Ulta Beauty. The possibilities are beautiful. You can stream all the podcasts you already love right on TuneIn. Available on your smartphone, on your tablet, and even on your connected devices. There's so much to explore, like mind-blowing facts about your world.
So they were disallowed from speaking their language.
In-depth conversations with A-list celebrities.
No, I was ready to go. You know, after I wanted to fulfill my contract.
True crime podcasts you just can't stop listening to.
Others escape justice to live and die in infamy.
Plus the news and sports content you crave in podcast form.
Couldn't run in a straight line very quickly and didn't have much of an arm. His arm is stronger now.
So whether you want to save your go-to shows for later by subscribing and listening offline, or you want to discover a whole slate of new podcasts to be obsessed with, TuneIn is your destination. True crime, sports, lifestyle, culture, news, and so much more. TuneIn is Podcast Central. Hear them all here.
Discover your new favorites on TuneIn. With over 100,000 music, news, and sports stations to choose from, there's always something to listen to. Even podcasts and audiobooks for you to enjoy. Stay connected for all new recommendations and follow us on social media at TuneIn on Facebook, Instagram, and X. And start listening today. Just ask your device to play TuneIn.
Oh, place it, press it, peel it. That's it.
Ready to order.
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Welcome back. The White House unveiling a deal this morning aimed at curbing high power prices tied to the country's AI build-out. Eamon Jabbers in D.C. with more. Eamon.
Yeah, Sarah, that's right. President Trump continuing his push to lower electricity prices for consumers this morning as the administration is announcing right now the plans to push tech companies to bid to build new power plants across the country. Now, this approach would push much of the cost of electricity generation for the AI boom onto tech companies. The idea here is to relieve consumers of some of these surging costs. Now, earlier this week, we saw the president posting on social media that he wants the big tech companies to, quote, pay their own way for power. And Microsoft told CNBC that it was committing to a set of principles that were designed to buffer consumers from the cost impact of AI, including those electricity costs. Now, the plan under consideration now would push grid operator PJM Interconnection to hold an auction for tech companies to bid on these 15-year contracts to generate electricity. The Trump administration is working alongside a group of mid-Atlantic governors on the proposal. Now, this event at the White House has started. It's underway now with Energy Secretary Wright, Interior Secretary Burgum, and others. They're unveiling the project, so we should get some more details as the event unfolds here, guys. But that is the announcement from the White House this morning.
Okay, Eamon Jabbers, thank you very much.
You bet.
Let's stick with the outlook for energy demand and AI and bring in the country's biggest natural gas producer. Joining us now is EQT CEO Toby Rice. You have a front row seat into how much power is going to be needed to power our AI future, Toby. What does it look like right now?
Well, we are still convicted that this is going to be a major source of energy demand in this country. Just to frame this up, the power needs for AI are going to require around 100 gigawatts of power